Hey guys, Creator Mom. So I saw this movie last night. I gotta talk about it. Anyways, my kid's childhood friend came over, and that's just another interesting thing. It's so funny because that's how you know you're like friends with somebody, because you could go a year and without talking to them, or 8 months, and then suddenly they message you like, hey, do you guys want to hang out? And we're like, yeah, come over. And like everything is kind of just normal. It's like those relationships that feel like they never left off, they're just continual because they're continually energetic. But her and my son talk, which I was very glad to hear that she's 13, my oldest son is 13, so they have known each other since they were like 5. And I just think that's so beautiful. And I'm going to talk about the movie too. But the really funny, energetic thing that happened is that when we left where we used to live, she used to live right across the street from us. And we left. And then shortly after we left, we were at the shelter. So I didn't know where we were going to live. I didn't know what county we were going to live in. So shortly after we left, they also moved to a different county. And then what happened was, when I found a place, it happened to be in the same county that they live in. So we don't live across the street from each other anymore, but we live in the same county, like 10 minutes or from each other. And I just thought that was a very strange thing. I'm like, what are the chances? That is so wild. Anyways, yeah, so it was nice to see them hanging out. And she's always been bigger than my boys, like taller. Like, she's just genetically taller, I'm about to say woman now. She's only 13, but if you see her, she looks like she's 16 or 17. Like, that's how fucking tall she is. Like, she's just she's gonna be a tall lady. So anyways, it's just funny because my boys always look small in comparison to her, but that's just the way it's always been ever since they were little. She was even tall as a 5-year-old. So anyways, it's just really beautiful to see. And when she came over yesterday, I think the last time we saw her was last October, because we have this thing where we won't see each other all year and then we'll go trick-or-treating together. But she reached out earlier this year and said she wanted to come hang out. I said, yeah, come over. So I hadn't seen her since last October, and she grew more. She got taller, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I was just like, wow. In my head, I was like, wow, she got taller now. So, and her voice changed too. I was like, oh my God, like, her voice is beautiful. It's like a deeper, like, womanly voice, instead of like a high-pitched child's voice. And I'm just like, oh my God. And my son has a deeper voice now. My 13-year-old, his voice is deep, and it's hard to hear him sometimes because when their voice is not so high-pitched and now it's deep, like, and then they mumble, like, sometimes, not mumble, but they talk very low. So anyways, that was just really nice to see the evolution or the continuation of that childhood relationship. I know I have childhood friends that I don't see them, but like, we're Facebook friends, and it's just like, I don't know, I think that there's a bond that happens that doesn't ever really go away. For some, I guess. It's weird, but you don't see each other, but you just kind of bonded. Anyways, this movie, maybe I should make another video. I watched this movie called The Night Always Comes. Dude, I thought this movie was gonna be like a thriller, like scary movie, like The Night Always Comes, and had nothing to do with any of that. And the movie was very, very negative. And I thought, I don't know if I want to watch this. Like, this girl struggling. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to hang in there. And I just intended that I was going to glean whatever positive meaning from the movie. So basically, the movie just gets worse and worse because this girl is living with her mom and her brother. Her brother's older than her, but he's developmentally disabled a bit. So, and they're living in her childhood house, but they're about to lose the house. Like, they have to make this crazy 25 grand down payment. And the movie doesn't give you a lot of history about her, but apparently, like, she's gotten in trouble. I think she's done some fucked up things, maybe, and her relationship with her mom is really on the rocks. Like, her mom seems kind of like a bitch, too, I ain't gonna lie. And she probably obviously wasn't perfect either, but her mom just, I was like, her mom did not seem like a very nice person. But, because what happened was, they're all living in this house, and the house is about to be taken from them if they can't make this 25 grand down payment. So the girl is, I think her mom is supposed to make this down payment, and then the mother spends the money on getting a new car because the mother doesn't give a shit about the house. She doesn't want the house. But she's not extreme. She says that to the daughter, but not extremely clear because she doesn't want the daughter to freak out, apparently. This lady, she's got to be like in her 20s. Maybe she's 25 or something in the movie. I don't know. So then what happens is the mom goes out and buys a new car puts 25 grand down. The daughter's like, how could you do this? We're going to lose the house and everything like that. But I think the mother had a plan. So the whole movie's about this whole crazy ass night she has about trying to get 25 grand for this house. She wants to keep it. It's going to be lost. But she wants to keep this house, but the whole time, this whole night thing, it's so bad and so desperate of her because she's like coming to her end, speaking spiritually, like she's coming to her end in the flesh. She needs to let go. She needs to shed all of this shit. But this is her last attempt in desperation, hard desperation to get this money. And guess what? She ends up getting the money through a fucking crazy series of events. She had done, I think, some escorting at one point. So she tried to ask this guy that she had escorted with, and he just laughed at her. He was like, nah, I can't loan you that money. A nice girl, but you could tell she hadn't had her awakening yet. She didn't, surrounded by these people who really didn't give a fuck about her, really fucked up. But the energy she was putting out too, because probably of her childhood experience, you know what I'm saying? This just desperation. Nobody cares about her. Nobody's helping her. Anyway, so she's trying in all her desperation to gather this money to save her family, right? Which her mom doesn't even give a fuck about her either. So it's just sad to see all these people that don't give a fuck about this girl, and she's trying so hard. But that is part of it is because of her own personal self-concept too, which is not necessarily her fault. I think it's just a byproduct of all the shit from childhood. But anyways, it kind of brings her to this point where she lets all of it go and just moves on with her life. And to me, that's like, okay, the night came, like that, just like the darkest hour, your darkest hour before you become awakened, you know what I'm saying, to who you are. And you're like, you just choose yourself. You're like, fuck it, I'm choosing myself. I choose myself. I let all this go in love and I move on. So anyways, how did she get this money? Then she went to her friend who had borrowed money from her to bail her out $3 grand. And she was trying to desperately ask her, can you please give me money? She's like, I just can't pull it out of the air. I don't have it, And the friend was living with, she was like escorting for this business guy, this politician. And so the politician had a safe in his office. And the friend, leaves her there. She's alone in this, in her friend's boyfriend's apartment or whatever, a penthouse. She finds this other dude that she works with. She knows he's been in jail, so she tells him, she asks him, can He helped her open this safe. She lies at first and says it's her safe, whatever. Then he finds out she's lying. Of course, he knew she was lying. So he brings her, they both carry this safe out of this penthouse, and they take it to this freaking trailer park, trashy place. And this trashy dude opens this fucking safe for her. But you know it's dangerous. The whole time you're like, oh my God, this just keeps getting worse and worse. Her desperation keeps leading her into more and more danger, you know? And by the end of it, you're like, holy shit, by the time she gets this money, is it going to be worth it? She's going to be in jail or dead or something, you know what I mean? So the guy, you know he's dangerous. You know he's not going to open the fucking safe for no reason and just let you have everything that's in it. Like, in what world? You know what I'm saying? So then he opens the safe and he's like, where'd you get this from? Whose fucking money is this? Da-da-da. Anyways, they end up fighting those guys and killing one of them. And they get out of there, her and her, like, coworker guy, who she's got involved in this mess. And then she was able to take the money. There was cocaine, and some Rolexes. Then, it's a long story, but then that guy, her coworker guy, tries to take all the money from her. He tries to take it from her. She doesn't let him, you know, and all this shit. And, what else? She was able to succeed in not letting him take the money. And then she ditched him, obviously, because he became dangerous. And then, what happened next? Yeah, she just goes through a series of, like, awful events. But at the end of the day, she comes home, like, in the morning. She stays out all night doing all kinds of shit like this. She goes to this guy who owns a pawn shop that she used to know. He used to pimp her out when she was 16. And he's like, oh, okay, this one guy I know will take the cocaine. I was only going to pay you $3,000. And that guy lives in the hills, and he's having a house party, and he also wants to rape her. It's just like, she's going from, like, one dangerous person to another. Oh, my Lord. So then, I think she ends up getting some money there. But that was a crazy situation. And I think that was her last crazy-ass stop. But I'm not sure. It's one of those movies that ends on a cliffhanger, which I hate, again. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to make up my own ending. But what happened was I wasn't sure if she left the money to her mom. I, like, hope she didn't. If she did get back with money. She had money. But she left a note for her mom and her brother on the table. And the movie was not clear whether she left money in there or not. I'll say, and I'll make up my own ending and say maybe she left a little bit of money, or maybe they did say, or it did show, but I didn't catch it. But, like, maybe she left a bit of money, but she took the rest. And my story is she took the fucking 20 grand or 19 grand. It was 19 grand cash that was in that safe. So she took that money and she went to a beautiful fucking island or something, someplace, and she started over again. But this time she started over with a different concept. She was new. She left all that old shit behind and she changed who she was being. So, anyways, I was just like, at the end of the movie, I was like, wow, like, this is what this movie was about. And, like, there was, like, nothing good in the movie. It was just pain, and more pain. But the positive thing was at the end of the movie. That was the one positive thing, and thank God for that. She decided, that's it. I'm going to change. You know what I mean? I'm leaving all this behind. And her mom told her at the end of the movie, her mom was like, she told her, you're like a toilet bowl, like, you know, the suction. You just kind of, like, suck the life out of people, you know, and maybe that's who she used to be, you know what I'm saying, that girl. And her mom just got fed up with him, just like, I'm not putting up with that shit. Her mom already had a plan. Her mom was going to move with her brother to this other lady's house that they knew. And the daughter came to the realization at the end of the movie, she was like, Mom, you just don't want to live with me. Like, you just don't want to be around me. And the mom really kind of stayed silent and, you know, signifying that, yes, that's true. Like, I don't want to be around you anymore, you know. So the girl was like, well, I guess I needed to hear that. mom. She wrote to her in a letter. I guess I needed to hear that, and I'm going to move forward now, and I'm going to live my life for me. You know what I'm saying? Which is a good thing. Now she's going to focus on herself and her own well-being instead of this place of desperation, trying to do this for, you know, all this stuff out of guilt. I think it was for guilt. I think that she felt guilty for the life that she had lived from 16 and on. And she also told her mom that, where were you? Like, why weren't you there for me? You know what I mean? So obviously their relationship was bad, probably from you know, her childhood. So, you know, but when her mom made her realize that her mom didn't want to be around her anymore, basically she's just like, well, you know, I needed to hear that so that I could move on with my life. So that was positive. I took that as a very positive part of the movie. And yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to share that. Have a great day.